Hi everybody, Timothy James Holloway here. I'm a filmmaker and author, and I wanted to make this video for indie authors and filmmakers out there that are trying to break into the business. I'm nervous as hell, so please bear with me. I'll try to be as candid as possible. I'm a behind the scenes person. I'm not an in front of the camera person, so that partly makes it a little bit difficult to do this. But what really makes it difficult is because I'm speaking my truth here, and something that was very hurtful that happened to me. But I don't want it to happen to you. So I'm gonna share my story, and you glean from it what you can or what you will. I'll go back to the beginning. As some of you know, I wrote a book, a science fiction novel called Peril. But Peril started off as a screenplay. This was back in 2007, 2008. I was working at the school that I was going to, Full Sail University, to get my master's degree. And I was working there part-time overnight at the back desk, reception desk. And I was writing the book at the same time that I was working. So the book was completed in 2008. I had graduated with a master's degree from Full Sail, moved back home to New Jersey, broke as hell, working part-time at Home Depot, and I decided to shop around my screenplay. I sent it to several production companies, specifically John Spates's Circle of Confusion production company, and I entered it into several screenwriters competitions. I believe that one of the competitions, Scriptapalooza, was judged by John Spates. Not really sure about that, but I am sure about the fact that he worked at Circle of Confusion and they had access to my screenplay because I sent it to him. I did copyright my work. But later I found, after the movie Prometheus came out, one of my friends came up to me at Home Depot and said, "Hey, Tim," because they read the screenplay. I was showing it off, showing it to everybody, and they said, "You need to go see the movie Prometheus." So I went to see it, and I was shocked as hell at what I saw. There were several plot lines, several direct quotes. Hell, even my last name was used for one of the main characters, Charlie Holloway. But what really got me was the fact that I sought out an attorney, two actually, that saw the movie. They read my screenplay. They said, "Hey, you got a good case." But one of the lawyers kind of frightened me because he said, "You know, you're trying to be a director in this industry." And back then in 2008, 2009, there was no Netflix, there was no Amazon, there wasn't any other entries into the business except through the traditional production companies. And this lawyer told me, he says, "You can fight them and sue them. You have a strong case here, but you run the risk of being blackballed in the industry because these people hold all the cards and their money is long. They can tie you up in court forever." So I had decided at that time, I was $100,000 in debt with school loans, thank you Full Sail, and working part-time at Home Depot. I didn't have the means to fight these people. So I had decided to let it go. I'll get a little specific about where the copyright infringement came in. Like I said, I had my work copywritten back in 2008, which is 4 years before Prometheus was even heard about. So the similarities between the movie Prometheus and my screenplay Peril, there's so many I had to write them down, but I'll quickly try to go through them really quickly because I'm sure people want to know, how did they infringe on your copyright? Well, in both stories, the main characters, Shaw, and in my story, Vanessa Baines, grapples with issues of pregnancy. In my story, Vanessa Baines terminates her pregnancy so that she can captain a mission to save Earth and humanity from destruction. In Prometheus, the main character cannot get pregnant. So they both deal with that issue, and it gives a very human element to the story, makes the characters relatable. In both stories, the crew is infected by alien DNA. The alien DNA in Prometheus is contained in these urns. In my story, they're contained in cylinders. In both stories, mankind was created by what Prometheus calls the engineers. In my story, they were called the ancient ancestors. There was a direct line quote where Charlize Theron was speaking with the robot David when they arrived at the planet, and she said, wake us up, meaning wake the crew up, or wake them up. In Peril, my main character was in cryosleep, but she was still conscious and speaking with the ship's AI, artificial intelligence that was navigating the ship, and the ship told her, we've arrived at the planet, and she said, wake us up. When the crews were awakened from cryosleep in both stories, the main character in Prometheus vomits. In my story, one of the characters vomits when they're brought out of the cryosleep. That was just for effect, but it was taken right from the script. In Prometheus, the alien octopus creature resembles my mist creatures, tentacles and all. And that, amongst a lot of other things, specifically, I noticed that one of their main characters, Charlie Holloway, bears my last name, Holloway. How coincidental is that? But I remember a line that Charlize Theron said to Charlie Holloway in the film, which was like a nod, nod, wink, wink, tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. That just really blew my mind, and it was very hurtful. But her character said to Charlie Holloway, Mr. Holloway, you couldn't fund this mission, so you came to us. And that makes you an employee. I remember shopping around my screenplay, and I shopped it all around Hollywood, and I sent it to screen competitions, and I didn't have the money to fund the film. So yeah, I did go to the production companies, but that didn't make me an employee because I didn't get paid. So I don't want to dwell on that. I just want to get back to the purpose of me making this video, and that is just to make people aware that are trying to enter into the business. There's no safeguard around it. That's why a lot of production companies have provisos on their websites and whatnot that says we don't accept unsolicited screenplays or whatnot, and they typically want an agent to come to them. But that does not give them the right to steal your work. But as indie filmmakers and indie authors, we have to get ourselves out there to do that. But I wanted to make this video so that you would be prepared. You know, indie authors and filmmakers would be prepared for that can happen. My shit was copywritten back in 2008. Now, the way that the law is written, the statute of limitations says 3 years from the last time that they made any money off of the film is the limit that you have to sue. So back then, like I said, I approached 2 lawyers. They both went to see the movie. They both read my screenplay, and they both said, you have a strong case. I just didn't have the funds to pay them to fight these people. And I didn't want to be tied up forever with a case like this. They had access to my work because I sent it out there. But I never thought in a million years that my copyrighted material would be taken. Like I said, you gotta have a thick skin in this business. And the upside to all of that is that in the end, it was actually a good thing that happened to me because it forced me to go back to the computer and expand the story and write the book. I added a lot more characters. I broadened the scope of the story, and I actually could get another 2-3 novels out of this. There's a lot of backstory going on. There's new characters introduced, and it's actually turned out to be a greater story than the narrow screenplay that I submitted that was ripped off. So it was a blessing in disguise. So thank you. And it also lets me know that, you know, some poor kid from the ghetto who spent his time in front of the computer, starving, eating hand to mouth while going to film school, wrote this screenplay. The first that I ever wrote was ripped off. And thank you, you used my name in it. So everybody out there knows who I am. So I don't really look down at that incident. No, I can't fight them. And yeah, they doubled down with Alien Covenant. I mean, but I don't, like I said, with Alien Prometheus, the statute of limitations has run out on that, so I couldn't fight them on that if I wanted to. But they doubled down and made Alien Covenant, and that film does not fall within the 3-year statute of limitations. But like I said, if I have more projects in me, and I'm flattered that they felt that it was good enough to steal from. I mean, but hey, the sharp reviews that Prometheus received for all the many plot holes, you know, God is good. You know, I look at that and I say, hey, you know why there's so many plot holes in Prometheus? Because that was not their original idea. They took it. And they didn't know what was behind making that idea, what was up here in my head. So, and I got more projects inside of me. But I made this video, like I said, as a warning to people to be prepared, because when I entered into film school, I was naive as hell. I didn't know what to expect. And after I graduated and started out as a babe in this industry trying to make it, you know, I had no idea what to expect. And I was broke as hell. Like I said, I was working part-time at Home Depot. I didn't have the money to fight these people. And I didn't want my name sullied with the fact that they could drag me through court, blackball me in the industry. But I don't have that fear anymore, because the landscape has changed. With the advent of Netflix and with Amazon Studios and people making movies and putting them on YouTube, they're no longer the only gatekeepers. So I feel fairly confident and safe in telling you all this story, and just so that you know, because I didn't have anybody telling me this. I went to film school and I learned, you know, the nuts and bolts of the industry, but I didn't know what I really needed to know in the industry, and that is they don't have an original idea at all. You know, it's creatives like us that are out there that have it. We just have to be savvy enough and be lucky enough to get in the industry and be represented and have our interests taken care of. So I just wanted to make this video for whatever you can glean off of it. If it helps somebody, fine. I had to get that off my chest and put that to bed so I can move forward in pursuing my dream. I'm going to place down at the bottom of the screen my contact information, my social media information. If you want to reach out, say, hey, support my project, please do. Again, be blessed.